I love to go back in the past and see what happened before me, the inheritance, the ideas that came before, the boldness people had with their invention. Because for me to understand the past is to know where I belong, and it gives me a sense of hope and a sense of direction for the future. To understand history is inspiring and motivating to move forward. So this is the Museum of the Ursulines. This is the actual building since 1701. You even have the chapel and the school just behind. For me, it's a really precious experience to come here and to see all the inheritance we have about how these women empower the church and empower the community, the society with their ideas, with their innovative and bold move from Europe to Canada, and for them to just dedicate their life to changing the lives of all those young women coming in their way. I thank God for these opportunities He gave them, and for the change and the hope and the excellence they brought in our country. I'm glad that I could be part of it, that I could just have a glimpse of it, yeah. So we want to know when in history did the Ursulines start. So what we have discovered from today's lecture is that it started in Italy by Angèle Mérici. At the beginning, the rule was not for the nuns to be enclosed. They would gather often, really often together. They would seek Christ as their main reason for living, and they would have a really strong connection with one another. However, what happened with the Concile of Trente is that now the authority passed from a mother supervising the group to a father supervising the group, and at the end of the life of, I would say not at the end of the life, but after a while, it was obliged for the nuns, the Ursuline nuns, to consecrate their life for the education of young girls, and they had to be enclosed. Now it was an obligation. So what's interesting is that when they created the Ursulines, Angèle Mérici created 12 chapters that would show how to live in that community. First, they had to give themselves radically to Christ. They had to have a really apostolical spirit, a really alive one, a really strong community, a really strong communion between the sisters, and the exercise of the authority would be in the hand of one mother above all the other nuns. So after Italy, the Ursulines community expanded a lot in France. There was about 9,000 religious women teaching the little girls. With time, someone rose in the midst of this process. It was Marie de l'Incarnation. In 1639, she received a deep calling from God while she was praying that she needed to come in Canada. She then founded in Quebec City the first order of the Ursulines. It was the first order outside of Europe. So this is a portrait of Marie de l'Incarnation. So the Ursulines had to cross this big ocean in boat in order to get to North America, just here. And at that time it was really a big expedition. People could get killed because of the pirates or the waves or the weather, and many boats were drawing, but these women were really courageous. Their main objective in life was to be consecrated to prayer. When they got the mandate of educating students, the place they had in society and among the church increased a lot. They had more visibility afterwards. One thing important is that their first students they received in Trois-Rivières were First Nation students, and then French girls were added to the group. My family was born in Trois-Rivières, and we have 12 generations of my family who has lived in Quebec, so I'm a real Quebecer, I would say. The first one arrived in the 1600, and something I found really interesting is that my mother went to the Collège Marie de l'Incarnation, and it's really a good inheritance for Trois-Rivières because these Ursulines, they created education for the first inhabitants of this city and even this land, I would say. And here you can see some of the school. Be a student with the Ursulines. This period is when my mother was actually there in primary school. So here we have a glimpse of what the boarding school with the Ursulines looked like, and many young girls would come in order to stay even every evening of the week. One thing they keep repeating in what we're reading is the apostolic mandate that these Ursulines had. This is also what I felt when I heard about Marie de l'Incarnation, or calling to come here and to build stuff and to create change. This really gave a sense in my spirit that it was an apostolic mandate that we have, an inheritance we have in Trois-Rivières and Quebec City. And one more thing, to have the First Nation and the French girls studying together, it's kind of a sense of unity. Everyone were welcome to study together and to learn under the same roof. And for me, it's a really good principle, and it brings joy to the Lord. Everyone wants to be part of a story, and I think it's really important to study history and what happened before, because it gives us a glimpse of who we are, where we come from, and why we are what we are today. And for me, it's really inspiring and motivating to understand what is before me, so I can go and be inspired for the future. Moi, j'aime vraiment l'histoire. Pourquoi? Parce que l'histoire, ça me motive, ça me met un contexte, ça me fait comprendre je suis où sur la map, je suis où sur la ligne du temps, et qu'est-ce que j'ai à faire, à contribuer à partir de qu'est-ce qui a déjà été fait dans le passé. Ça me donne des indices, des pistes, ça me donne des idées et une compréhension de où je dois aller. Donc c'est pour ça que j'aime ça et que je veux poursuivre dans cette quête. Et j'encourage vraiment là, tout le monde à faire de même, là.